I'm going to show you how to use LTM Landscape Terrain Modeller, modifying floors for landscaping and terrain modeling in Revit. In this model I have a sidewalk around a building. I have the plan view to the right. And I want to lower this corner using some of the functions in LTM. Create sub-element will create a new sub-element in the floor and set the elevation based on a base point and a type slope. Type in the slope in percentage, use enter afterwards. Create sub-element, select the floor, the base point, the placement of the new sub-element. Do the same on the other side. Select the floor, base point, new placement. You will see the model changing in the left side. Now I want to lower the middle part a little bit more. I'll change the slope. Run the command again. The floor, the base point, the placement. If I select an existing sub-element as a second base point, it will adjust the existing base point and not create a new one. If I want to change this edge as well, and I want it to be in the same elevation and this one, I'll change the slope to 0. Run the command again. Floor, base point, second point. And if I annotate the floor, you can see I have the 1.5% on those edges. I have the 5% on here. And here I have no slope. Now I have added another floor next to the sidewalk, and I want the edges on the new floor to follow the edges of the existing sidewalk. For that purpose we have match sub-element, which will align the sub-elements on the shared edges between the two floors. I can create them with a vertical edge, let's say 100 millimeters. Select match sub-elements, select the first floor, the second floor, and you can see the two floors are following each other with a vertical edge. If I want them to be perfectly aligned, I'll press 0 in the offset, match sub-element, select the first floor and the second floor, and the shared edges will be aligned. When I have finished editing the floors, I want to make sure I have the right slopes on edges and faces. Then I can use slope text. Slopes text will use the default text in Revit, and it will set a text indicating the slope on each edges on lines in the selected floors. I can select it for edges and faces only, or edges and faces. I'll select the two floors, I'll press finish. As you can see, every face and edges have the indication of slope and direction of the slope. Using the slope text for the first time, Revit have loaded minimum slope and maximum slope on inches and on type. And if you type in some minimum and maximum slope as I did in this floor, you can see the slopes not conditional to minimum slope and maximum slope are colored red and orange, and then you know where to take care of the model if they are not as you wish. The slope text are not tags as we know them in Revit, it's just text, so they have to be updated using the function when the floor is updated. If you want to delete the texts, you can do it manually, or you can use the function again. Delete slope text, select the floors, finish selection, and all the texts connected to the floors are deleted. If we want automatic spot elevation, you can use spot elevation. We can choose if it's edges only, engineer sub-elements, or both. We select the floors, finish selection. The automatic spot elevation will use the default spot elevation in Revit, so you don't need any special families or anything. If we want to change the elevation of sub-elements in a certain area, we can use adjust sub-elements. We type in the changes, minus 100 millimeter, adjust sub-elements, select the floors, finish selection, and then select the area on which you want to change the sub-elevation. In this case, I want to change those two with 100 millimeters, and they're changing, so you don't need to get on each sub-element, but you can change a lot in a certain area.